Good afternoon and welcome to Homewood-Flossmoor Field. We're ready for first pitch as that one. Called on the check swing, it's a ball. Cormac Saunders starting on the mound for the Vikings today. Making his second start of the season. There's a pitch in the outside corner called for strike one. 1-1 count. Saunders made his first start against Montini Catholic last week. Here's the pitch. That one's outside, so it's 2-1. Some Friday night action between Homewood-Flossmoor and Kenwood Academy. Much anticipated matchup here early in the season. That one's lined into center field, and that'll be a base hit. The first one for Kenwood Academy as Calamino bobbles it. Runner will go to second. Throw to second is not going to be in time. It's going to be Demarion Butler with a leadoff double for the Broncos. Like I was saying, much anticipated matchup. The Vikings took home the win in this matchup last year. Looking to do that for the second year straight. So no outs. There's a runner on second here early in the top of the first inning. Butler leads off a second. Saunders takes a peek at him. Here's pitch. Shows bunt, but pulls back as it's ball one, 1-0. Count. Runner on second. Nobody out. Saunders steps off and looks at the runner at second. Ball, that's 2-0. 2-0 count. Runner on second. It's Jonathan Patterson up for the Broncos. He's the starting second baseman for Kenwood. Here comes the pitch. He shows bunt again. He gets that one down, and it's a good one. Saunders will field it cleanly. Throw to first is in the dirt, but scooped out by Stamps. So the Vikings get one out. But Butler advances to third on the sac bunt, and that'll bring up Jimmy Downs. Downs, the starting pitcher for the Broncos, also hitting, though, as they do not have a designated hitter in the lineup. Comes the pitch. Curveball swing and a miss from Downs. It's 0-1. Saunders set. Here's pitch. Fastball, that one's grounded to short. Holmes will throw to first. Throw home is not going to be in time as Butler will score. So the Vikings get an out on the ground out. But the Broncos do score. They put one on the board here in the first to take an early lead, 1-0. So 2 on, nobody out for Philip Thigpen. Batting cleanup today, starting at third base. Saunders with the windup and the pitch. That one's low, 1-0. Here comes the windup. Pitch. Curveball on the outside part of the plate fouled off. So it's 1-1. Here comes the pitch. That one, slider down the middle. So 1-2. That one lined into right field. Heidelberg coming in. He'll make the catch for the third out of the inning. So the Broncos scratch one across. We'll head to the bottom of the first as the Vikings look to get on the board. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. And we're back. Here in the bottom of the first, it's going to be Demir Heidelberg in the leadoff spot for the Vikings. Jimmy Downs on the mound for the Broncos. So Downs about ready. Here comes the windup and the pitch. Fastball, that one's high. 1-0 now on Heidelberg. Vikings lost to Maine South yesterday by a score of 2-1. Just haven't been able to get the offense going quite as much as they would like here early in the season. Comes the windup in the pitch. Fastball inside. It's ball 2, so it's 2-1. Wind up. Here comes the pitch. Inside, it's 3-1. Heidelberg with a batting average of .308 here early in the season. 3-1 pitch. Here it comes from Downs. Fastball, that one's grounded towards the Kenwood dugout. So 3-2, that's a full count now. Full count on Heidelberg. Scott on deck. Downs with the windup, the pitch. Fastball, that one's blooped into left center field, and that'll get down. Heidelberg, big round around first, but he'll get back in time. So it's a leadoff single for Demir Heidelberg. So that'll bring up Jameer Scott. Initially looked like he came off the inside of the bat, looked like more of a pop fly, but then started to realize it was more of a line drive. Got pretty deep into left center field. Regardless, Heidelberg on first to lead off the inning. Downs comes set. Heidelberg leads off first. Here comes the pitch to Scott. High fastball taken for ball 1. It's 1-0. Pick off attempt to first. Nothing doing. Here comes the pitch. Runner goes. There's a fly ball to deep center field. It's going back. Back. It's gone! Jameer Scott with the home run over the deep center field monster. And the Vikings will take the lead 2-1 here early in the first inning. Scott with his first home run of the season off Jimmy Downs. Heidelberg will score. Scott comes home. And the Vikings lead 2-1, the first home run for Jameer Scott this season. Huge home run from Jameer Scott. Wind is blowing out today. Very much so as well. That ball just carried and carried over the center field monster. And like I said, the Vikings take a 2-1 lead, so it'll be nobody on, nobody out for Evian Rodriguez now with the bases clear. Here comes the windup from Downs in the pitch. There's a curveball down the middle called for strike 1. It's 0-1. Downs with the windup and the pitch. There's a curveball on the outside. It's 1-1. 1-1 count. Here comes the pitch. Curveball swing and a miss from Rodriguez. So it's 1-2. See both teams on the 12th Yes, we will at the Chicago High School Baseball Classic. They call it the Super Bowl of high school baseball. Homewood-Flossmoor will face off against Lane Tech, and Kenwood Academy will face off against Simeon. You can catch all those games Saturday, April 12th at Ozinga Field in Crestwood, Illinois, home of the Windy City Thunderbolts. 2-2 count. Here comes the windup from Downs, the pitch. Curveball on the inside. A lot of off-speed from Downs here this at-bat. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. It's a full count here on Evian Rodriguez. Arthur Stamps on deck for the Vikings. Here comes the pitch. Fastball called for strike 3 on Rodriguez for the first out of the inning. So 1 out, nobody on. Arthur Stamps up for the Vikings. Here comes the pitch from Downs. Bunt shown, he pulls it back. And the first pitch is called for a strike. It's 0-1 on Stamps. Here comes the windup, the pitch. For a ball, that one's in the dirt. So it's 1-1. Here comes the windup in the pitch. Inside fastball. That one's called for a strike as well. So it's 1-2 on Stamps. Here comes the windup, the pitch. That one's grounded up the middle. It'll get through. So another hit for the Vikings as Arthur Stamps will get on base. And that'll bring up Derek Holmes. Scott's home run a couple at bats ago. Only the second home run for the Vikings this season. Arthur Stamps had one earlier this year. And so Scott will add to that total. Derek Holmes looking to do some damage with Stamps on first. Vikings already with 3 hits early here in the first inning. Team only had 4 hits in the loss yesterday to Maine South. So already almost near that total here just in the first inning. Downs comes set, another pickoff attempt to first, and Stamps is back in plenty of time. Downs comes set. Next pitch. Curveball on the outside part of the plate. Misses. It's 1-0 on Derek Holmes. Time called by Coach Marcus Rogers. Gonna call Derek Holmes over. Kickoff attempt to first again, but Stamps is back in plenty of time as well. Stamps with another big leadoff. High inside fastball. Missed. It's 2-0 now on Derek Holmes. Two-0 on Holmes. Stamps leads off first. 1 out for the Vikings. Another pickoff. Stamps again back in time. Down set. 2-0 pitch to Holmes. Runner goes. fouled off by Derek Holmes, so it's 2-1. Holmes awaiting a 2-0 pitch. Curveball on the outside part of the plate. Called for a strike, so it's 2-2 now. Mateo Munoz on deck for the Vikings. 2-2. Stamp leads off first, 1 out. Vikings lead 2-1 early on the first inning. Home run from Jameer Scott. Downs set another pickoff. Really worried about Stamps over there at first. Down set. Here's pitch. Runner goes. Outside slider. Throw it on to second is not in time. Stamps is in there with a stolen base. Pitch was a ball, so it's going to be 3-2 now on Derek Holmes. A full count with a runner in scoring position. Here comes the pitch from down. That one fouled off by Holmes again. Still 3-2. Stamps off a second. Here comes the pitch from Downs. Inside fastball. That one's drilled into left field. Rogers waving Stamps around third. Throw home is not in time. Stamps will slide in. Safe. The Vikings take an early lead 3-1. Holmes will go to second on the single. And then he advances on the throw. So he'll be on second. 1 out. Vikings now lead 3-1. And that'll bring up Mateo Munoz. Here comes the pitch. Fastball down the middle. Called for strike 1. A 1 count. Holmes leads off the second. Here's the pitch. Inside fastball. Called for strike 2. So 0-2 now on Munoz. Here comes the pitch. Runner goes. That one's driven in the air to center field. Going back is the center fielder. He'll make the catch. Holmes stole third, but then had to go back on the pop fly. So 2 outs. Holmes will remain at second, and that'll bring up Evan Bradford for the Vikings. Holmes off second, pick off second, not going to be in time. So 2 outs. Vikings currently lead 3-1 just here in the bottom of the first. Downs comes set. Another pickoff attempt is not going to be in time to get Holmes. Downs comes set. Here's pitch. Fastball low and outside on Bradford. It's 1-0. Bradford awaiting a 1-0. Here's the pitch. That one's driven in the air to left field. Going back as left fielder. He'll make the catch. A hard hit ball there from Bradford, but right into the left fielder's glove. Vikings will go into the top of the second, but not before scratching across 3 runs. They lead now 3-1. We'll head to the top of the second. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Sorry about that. We are back. Runner on first. 1-0 count to Stinson. Runner goes to second, and he gets picked off. So that'll be the first out of the inning. Josiah Patterson stepping up now for the Broncos. It'll be his first at bat. He's the starting first baseman for Kenwood. Fastball down the middle. Called for strike one. 0-1 count. Fastball down the middle again. So 0-2. Hold on. 1-2 count. Saunders comes steady. Here's the 1-2. There's a curveball. Runner goes. Throw to second is not going to be in time as he gets past. Ball on the pitch, so it'll be 2-2. Two count. Saunders comes set. Runner off a second. Time is called. Here comes the pitch. That one's lined into center field. Calamino's going to make the catch. Throw to second is going to be in time to double up Kenwood to end the inning. Calamino made the catch. Runner thought it would get down, but the wind carried it right into Calamino's hands. He made the catch. Connie couldn't pick it out at second, but had plenty of time to pick it up and step on the base anyway. Vikings get out of the inning with no trouble. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Vikings lead 3-1. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Here comes the pitch from Downs. Outside fastball. It's 1-0 on Connie. Wind up from down. Here is the pitch. That one's lined up the middle to the shortstop. Throw to first is going to be in time to get Connie for the first out of the inning. So 1 out. Calamino up to the plate for the Vikings. Here comes the windup and the pitch. Fastball, that one's low. Called for a strike, 0-1. Here's the windup and the pitch. Bunt by Calamino, he gets it down. Throw to first is in time. So 2 outs now. And it'll bring up the top of the order. It's Demir Heidelberg. So 2 outs. Here comes the pitch to Heidelberg. Curveball, that one's low. 1-0. Here's the windup and the pitch. Another curveball. That one's at the knees. Heidelberg called for a strike. Here comes the windup and the pitch. Another curveball. This one in the dirt. 2-1. Two 1 count on Heidelberg. 2-1. Here's the pitch. Curveball, that one on the outside part of the plate, called for a strike. So 2-2 now on Demir Heidelberg. Here comes the windup and the pitch. Curveball, that one tipped Heidelberg. He'll go to first on the hit by pitch. So 2 outs, and that'll bring Jameer Scott to first base. Homered in his first at-bat to put the Vikings up 2-1 in the first inning. So Heidelberg back on first. Similar situation for Scott. Facing the same pitcher, same runner on first. Downs comes set. Comes the pitch, runner goes. Ball gets away from the catcher. Heidelberg safe at second. Strike was called on the pitch as Scott went for a bunt but pulled back. Here comes the pitch. Outside curveball called for strike 2 on Scott. Oh, 2 count on Scott. Here's the pitch. That one's popped high in the air in foul territory. And it's going to be caught by the third baseman. Big Pen running in and making the diving catch. So that'll bring the Vikings to the top of the third inning. We'll be right back. You're watching HF Fucking Baseball. So the 8-hole hitter, Delvin Williams, up now as he gets a bunt. Lays it down perfectly, but greatly played by Rodriguez. Throw to first is not going to be in time, however, as the speedy runner gets the first. Rodriguez got a great jump on the ball. Made a throw on the run, just didn't have enough power to get it to first in time to get Williams out. So Williams will be on first, and it'll be Daniel Luster up now for the Broncos. Starting in left field for Kenwood. Called for strike one. It's 0-1. Oh and 1. Pick off. No good. Oh, 1 count. Pick off attempt to first. Almost got Williams at first, but he's just back in time. Great move there by Saunders. Another pickoff is no good. Comes pitch. That one's grounded in between short and third, and that'll get through. Holmes went over to shift towards second. Missed the opportunity to get the ground ball. So it'll be runners on first and second. No outs for the Broncos, and that'll bring up the top of the order. It's Demarion Butler. Comes the pitch. Down the middle, called for strike one. It's 0-1. Oh, 1 count. Here's the pitch. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, called for strike two. It's 0-2. Here's pitch, bunt shown. He pulls back. So 1-2 now on Butler. Saunders comes set. Here's pitch. Curveball on the inside part of the plate. Just missed him. It's 2-2. It's pitch. High fastball. And he'll take his walk. So bases are loaded, nobody out for Jonathan Patterson. Saunders comes set. Curveball. It's 1-0. Here comes the pitch. Fastball on the outside part of the plate called for strike one. So 1-1. Comes pitch from Saunders. That one's grounded to third. Throw home is going to be in time to get the force out. So Rodriguez saves a run on the throw home. And that'll be the first out of the inning, and it'll bring up Jimmy Downs. Here comes the pitch from Saunders. Swing and a miss from Downs. 0-1. Oh, 1 count. Swing and a miss from Downs. So it's 0-2. Downs in a bit of a hole now with the bases loaded. 0-2, 1 out. Saunders comes set. Here's the pitch. Fastball, that one's fouled back out of play by Downs. So still 0-2. Here comes the pitch. Outside part of the plate called for strike 3 on Downs for the second out of the inning. And it'll be Philip Thigpen stepping up for the Broncos. Outside part of the plate called for strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch. Here it comes. That one grounded towards the Kenwood dugout. So it'll be 0-2 on Thigpen. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Throw to first is in time, and Saunders gets out of it. Bases loaded jam with no outs and no runs cross the plate. Ground out to third and 2 strikeouts for Saunders. Vikings will still lead 3-1. We'll head to the bottom of the third. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Evian Rodriguez up now for the Vikings. Downs with the windup and the pitch. Swing and a miss from Rodriguez. It's 0-1. Wind up from Downs. Here's the pitch. Inside curveball. So it's 1-1. Here's the pitch. Outside part of the plate, called for strike 2. So 1-2 on Rodriguez now. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, that one's fouled off. Still 1-2. Wind up in the pitch from Downs. Curveball, that one's hit opposite field. Left fielder coming on. He's not going to be able to make the catch. Rodriguez on his way to second. And he will get there in plenty of time with a leadoff double for the Vikings. And that'll bring up Arthur Stamps. So Rodriguez on second. Nobody out. Stamps stepping up to the plate. Had a single in his first at-bat. Knocked it right back up the middle. Downs comes set. Here's the pitch. Curveball, that one's high on Stamps. 1-0. Here comes the pitch from Downs. That one popped high in the air by Stamps, center fielder coming on. He'll make the catch. Rodriguez will tag for third. Throw into third is not going to be in time. Rodriguez will get to third in plenty of time. And so it'll be 1 out. That'll bring up Derek Holmes with a runner just 90 feet from home. Downs from the windup. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, that one's fouled off by Holmes. 0-1. Downs now from the stretch after going from the windup the first pitch. Here he comes. There's a grounder to third. Fielded cleanly. Throw to first is in time to get Holmes. So Rodriguez will stay at third, and that'll bring up Mateo Munoz with 2 outs. Downs comes set. Here comes the pitch. Low fastball. Called for ball 1. It's 1-0. Here it comes. High fastball. 2-0. So 2-0 count on Munoz. Rodriguez at third. Bradford on deck for the Vikings. Here comes pitch. That one's grounded down the third base line. It'll get by the third baseman, and Rodriguez will score. Mateo Munoz with an RBI single for the Vikings. That one just got by the glove of the diving third baseman. And so that'll bring up Evan Bradford for the Vikings as they take a 4-1 lead. So Bradford up for the Vikings. Oh for 1 on the line out. Here it comes. Runner goes. Throw to second's not going to be in time as Mateo Munoz slides in there safely. The call on the pitch was strike. So it's 0-1 on Bradford. Pick off to second. Robertson, the courtesy runner, back in plenty of time. Downs comes set. 0-1 count on Bradford. Here comes pitch. Runner goes. There's a liner down the third base line, but just foul from Bradford. So it's 0-2 on the designated hitter. Downs comes set. 0-2 pitch to Bradford. Here it comes. Curveball down the middle part of the plate called for strike 3. And so Bradford will go down looking. But the Vikings do get another one as they now lead 4-1. We'll head to the top of the 4th. Vikings lead 4-1. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Lance Moon stepping up now for the Broncos. Here comes a pitch from Saunders. That one's fouled off against the net. 0-1. Here comes a pitch from Saunders. High fastball. Called for a ball. It's 1-1. Pitch. That one's fouled off by Moon again. So a 1-2 count. Comes pitch. That one low and in the dirt. 2-2. Comes the pitch. Curveball. That one's just a bit low from Saunders. But it's 3-2. Wind up from Saunders. Here's the pitch. Fastball. That one's popped in the air. Sam's trying to get a read on it. He'll make the catch as he had to call off Jalen Connie, but they do get the first out. So Brandon Stinson will come up to the plate for the Broncos. Fastball down the middle called for strike 1. It's 0-1. Comes the windup in the pitch. That one fouled off towards the net. It's 0-2 on Stinson. Jalen Connie up now for the Vikings. Downs out for his 4th inning of work. The Vikings do lead 4-3. I'm sorry. And we are in the bottom of the 4th. Downs winds up. Here's pitch. Fastball just a bit high on Connie. It's 1-0. Nobody on, nobody out for the Vikings. Here comes the windup in the pitch. Fastball, that one's low on Connie, so it's 2-0. Connie windup, here's the pitch. Fastball, that one's high, but called for a strike, so it's 2-1. Comes the pitch, that one's low and away. So it's 3-1 on Connie. Comes the windup in the pitch, 3-1. That one's high on Connie, so he'll take the walk to lead it off for the Vikings, and that'll bring Nick Calamino to the plate. So Kenwood will call timeout. He'll go to the mound and try to have a quick talk with the pitcher Downs. We'll be right back. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. What's up? So Calamino up for the Vikings. It's Jonathan Patterson Jr. in the pitch for, I'm sorry, not Jonathan Patterson. It's Josiah Patterson in the pitch for the Broncos. 0-1 on Calamino. Connie leads off a first. No outs. Heidelberg on deck. Here comes the pitch from Patterson. That one's popped high in the air towards right field. Right fielder Williams going back. He'll make the catch. And that'll be the first out for the Vikings, but that'll bring up Demir Heidelberg. So 1 out, Connie on first. Heidelberg up to bat. Pick off to first. And Connie's back in time. Runner goes. Throw to second. Is not in time, but there was time called. The umpire is having a discussion. One umpire called time, one did not. So Connie is out. On the steal, they'll say. So call is going to be Connie out at second on the steal. Heidelberg will remain at bat. Wind up from Patterson. Here comes the pitch. That one grounded up the middle for a single for Heidelberg. And that'll bring up Jameer Scott with 2 outs and Heidelberg on first. Pickoff attempt, and it gets away as Heidelberg will go all the way to second. So 0-0 count, 2 outs, Heidelberg on second, Scott up to the plate. Patterson steps off the mound. Here comes the pitch. Runner goes inside. Heidelberg will get to third easily. And it's 1-0 on Scott. So 1-0 on Scott. Heidelberg on third. Patterson comes set. Here comes pitch. That one in the dirt. 2-0 on Scott now. Here comes the pitch to Heidelberg. I'm sorry, Scott. As he swings and misses, it's 2-1 now. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss from Scott. So 2-2 on the left fielder now. Here comes the pitch. Check swing from Scott. They say he did not go, so it's 3-2. Full count. Heidelberg just 90 feet from the plate. Scott will call time. Scott calls time again. Count is 3-2. Pitch from Patterson. That one's in the dirt, and Scott will go to first on the walk. That'll bring up Evian Rodriguez, and the Kenwood head coach will call time. He'll go out to talk to his pitcher. We'll be right back. You're watching HFIC in Baseball. So it's 1-0 now. Scott leads off at first. Heidelberg at third. Here comes the pitch from Patterson. Outside fastball called for a strike on Rodriguez. It's 1-1. Here comes pitch. That one fouled off by Rodriguez. So 1-2 now on the third baseman. Patterson comes set. Here comes the pitch. That one's lined up the middle. Nice stop by the second baseman, though. Throw to first is going to be in time. So a nice sliding play by the second baseman there, Patterson Jr., to save a run from crossing plate. We'll head to the top of the fifth. Vikings still lead 4-5 or 4-3. You're watching HF Viking baseball. That one grounded in between short and third by Downs. So he'll get on to start the fifth inning for the Broncos. Fastball down the middle. Here comes the pitch. Fastball high. Called for a strike. It's 0-2. So 0-2 count. Here comes the pitch. And it's going to be called, it was a hit by pitch, but they're going to say he leaned into it. So they'll call Thigpen right back. It's going to be 1-2. Saunders comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. That one grounded to short. Holmes will flip. No, he bobbles it. And the Vikings don't get it out as Holmes bobbles the throw or the toss. So it'll be first and second. No outs. And Lance Moon will come up to the plate for the Broncos. Saunders comes set. Here comes pitch. Bunt shown. Moon fouls it off back. So 0-1. Saunders comes set. Moon tries to bunt again, and that one's fouled off as well. So it's 0-2. Oh, 2 count. No outs. Runners on first and second. Here comes the pitch. Curveball on the outside part of the plate, called for strike 3. Big strikeout there for Saunders as he gets Moon looking for the first out of the inning. Brandon Stinson up now for the Broncos. 1 out, runners on first and second. Here comes the pitch. Fastball down the middle part of the plate on Stinson. It's 0-1. Comes the pitch. That one grounded to third. Rodriguez will field it, throw to first. It's going to be in time as Stamps will scoop it out the dirt for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Josiah Patterson for the Broncos. 2 outs, runners on second and third. Saunders comes set. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss from Patterson. It's 0-1. Saunders comes set. Here's the pitch. Inside fastball on Patterson. It's 1-1. Saunders comes set. Here comes the pitch. That one grounded to short. Fielded cleanly by Holmes. Throw to first is in time, and the Vikings get out of it without any runs. That'll be a third out of the inning. Vikings still lead 3-4 or 4-3. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Arthur Stamp stepping up now for the Vikings. That one's line to center. It's going to get past the glove of the diving center fielder, Lance Moon. So Arthur Stamps will get on first base with a leadoff single. Derek Holmes up now for the Vikings. Arthur Stamps will lead off first. Vikings trying to get some insurance here in the bottom of the fifth. Patterson comes set. Here's the pitch. That one's grounded short. Fielder Coonley throw to second is in time. Throw to first is in time for the double play. So Holmes grounds into a double play just like that. 2 outs for the Vikings, and that'll bring up Evan Bradford. Patterson winds up. Here's the pitch to Munoz. Fastball on the inside power plate called for strike one. It's 0-1. Comes the pitch. Fastball down the middle. Called for strike two. It's 0-2. That one fouled off by Munoz. Still 0-2. Still 0-2 count on Munoz. Wind up from Patterson. Here's the pitch. Fastball. That one's in the dirt. So 1-2. Comes to wind up. Munoz calls time and steps out. Here's the windup and the pitch. That one in the dirt. Still 2-2. Comes the windup in the pitch. High fastball. It's 3-2 now. Wind up from Patterson. Here's the pitch. That one in the dirt. So Munoz will take a walk after being down 0-2. And that'll bring up Evan Bradford. Patterson comes set. Here comes the pitch to Bradford. That one's popped in the air. Foul. Downs calling it. And he'll make the catch for the third out of the inning. We'll head to the top of the sixth. Vikings still lead 4-3. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. We're back here in the top of the sixth. It's Derek Holmes coming up. He's going to pitch for the Vikings. And it's going to be Javoris Bohannon taking his spot at shortstop. Cormac Saunders, 5 innings of work. 3 runs given up. And it'll be Delvin Williams up to bat for the Broncos. Comes windup from Holmes. Pitch. First pitch strike on the fastball down the middle. It's 0-1. Comes the windup in the pitch. Fastball again down the middle. So it's 0-2. Comes the windup from Holmes in the pitch. Curveball, that one's popped foul. So it'll remain 0-2 on Williams. Oh, 2. Wind up from Holmes. Here's the pitch. Fastball, that one's grounded to second. Connie bobbles it but throws to first. Still in time. Just barely gets the first out of the inning. Here comes the windup in the pitch. Inside slider called for strike one. So it's 0-1 here on Luster. Windup from Holmes, the pitch. Bunt goes foul from Luster, so it's 0-2. Vikings trying to hold on to a one-run lead here in the top of the sixth. Wind up, pitch from Holmes is in the dirt. It's a foul or a fastball in the dirt. I'm sorry. So it's 1-2. Wind up the pitch. Curveball. That one's line is short. Over the head of Bohannon, and that'll get through for a one-out hit for Luster. Holmes comes set. Here's the pitch. Fastball just a bit low. It's 1-0. One 0 count. Pickoff attempt to first. Williams back in time. Another pickoff attempt. One 0 count. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, swing and a miss from Butler. 1-1. Here comes the pitch. Slider just a bit high. It's 2-1. Pickoff attempt. Nothing doing. Here comes the pitch. Fastball. So 2-2 now. Two count on Butler. Runner on first. Holmes comes set. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, that one popped in the air right field. Heidelberg going back. He'll make the catch in deep right field for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Jonathan Patterson Jr. for the Broncos. So 2 outs now. Luster still on first. Holmes comes set. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, swing and miss from Patterson Jr. It's 0-1. Pick off to first. Nothing doing. Here comes pitch. Runner goes. Throw down to second is not in time. Oh, 2 count on Patterson Jr. Ball set. Here comes the pitch. Outside curveball. It's 1-2. Holmes steps off the mound, looks at the runner on second. Here comes the pitch. Curveball high. So it's 2-2 now. Comes the pitch. Fastball on the outside part of the plate called for strike 3. That'll end the inning. Vikings still up 1. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Mateo Morales up to bat for the Vikings now. Vikings trying to get some insurance before they head in the top of the 7th and try to close this one out. Patterson Jr. still on the mound for the Broncos. Here's the windup in the pitch. That one's fouled off towards the net. It's 0-1 on Morales. Bunt shown by Morales, but he pulls back. 1-1. Foul ball. One-two count on Morales. Here comes the windup in the pitch. Fastball, that one's in the dirt. So 2-2. Windup, here's the pitch. That one also in the dirt. So 3-2. Two count. Here comes the windup in the pitch. That one popped high in the air to center field. Boone coming on. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. And Nick Calamino will step up for the Vikings. Number 6, Nick Calamino. Foul ball off the catcher. Fastball down the middle. 0-2. Calamino steps out. 0-2 count. Robinson Jr. with the wind-up. As he steps off. Heidelberg on deck for the Vikings. Fastball outside. It's 1-2. Windup, here's the pitch. Fastball on the outside part of the plate called for strike 3 on Calamino for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Demir Heidelberg. Number 4, Demir Heidelberg. Comes to wind up in the pitch. 1-0. Wind up to the pitch. Fastball, that one's driven in line. Foul ball. So 1-1 now on Heidelberg. Wind up, here's the pitch. That one's grounded to third base. Fielder Finley throw to first. Is in time as they tag Heidelberg. So that'll be a third out of the inning. We'll head to the top of the 7th. Vikings looks to close it out. They lead 4-3. You're watching HF Viking Baseball. Jimmy Downs up now for the Vikings, or for the Broncos. There's a slider from Holmes. It's 1-0. Comes the pitch. Fastball, that one's high. So 2-0. Here comes the pitch from Holmes. Fastball low and away. Called for strike 1. It's 2-1. Comes the pitch. That one's grounded to short. Fielded cleanly by Connie. Throw on the run to first is in time. Scooped by Arthur Stamps. Great play by Jalen Connie on the run for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Philip Thigpen for the Broncos. Wind up from Holmes in the pitch. Curveball down the middle, called for strike 1. It's 0-1. Here comes the windup in the pitch. Fastball outside, called for strike 2. It's 0-2 now on Thigpen. That ball is in the dirt. 1-2 now on Thigpen. Comes the windup in the pitch from Holmes. That one's driven into left field. Scott on the run. Diving! He does not make the play. It'll bounce all the way to the wall. Relay is into Bohannon. And so Thigpen will be on second with 1 out. And that'll bring up Lance Boone to the dish. One 0 count. Here comes the pitch. That one's in the dirt, gets away from Munoz. Runner on his way to third, and he'll get there. And they're going to call for a pinch hitter with a 1-2 count. Owen Johnson pinch hitting for the Broncos. A 2-0 count on Johnson. Here's the pitch. Fastball, he lays the bunt down. Flip home is going to be in time. The Vikings get the out. The Broncos tried a suicide squeeze. They bunted it. Runner stole home. Stamps with a great play, charging and tossing the ball home for the second out of the inning. The Vikings are 1 out away from a victory here. comes the pitch from Holmes. Swing and a miss from Stinson. It's 0-1. Here comes the pitch. 1-1. One-two count now. Vikings are one strike away. Holmes comes set. Here comes the pitch. That one's popped high in the air. Scott got an eye on it. He'll make the catch, and the Vikings win as they hold off the Broncos. They win 4-3. They scored 4 runs in the first 3 innings and didn't score any since, but they held the Broncos, just beat them by 1 run. And they have defeated Kenwood for the 2nd year in a row. So the Vikings bounce back after the loss last night. They will not play tomorrow in a normal Saturday game, as they will head to Atlanta on Sunday, early Sunday morning, and they will play in a Lake Point tournament. For today, though, the Vikings win 4-3.